species. The Australopithecus afarensis, most commonly as Lucy, is an extinct species of Australopithecus which lived from about 3.9 from 2.9 million years ago in the Pliocene of East Africa. The first fossils were discovered in the 1930s, but major fossil finds will not be discovered until the 1970s, and in the 1972 from to 1977 was the expedition in Hara, Ethiopia.
When did Lucy, the first human, die? 3.2 million years ago, in a new study, researchers claim to have solved the mystery of how the early human ancestor, known as Lucy, died nearly 3 million years ago. There are indications of degenerative disease to her vertebrae that do not necessarily indicate old age. It is believed that she was a mature but young adult when she died, about 12 years old. In 1916, researchers at the University of Texas at Austin suggest that Lucy died after falling from a tall tree. When and where was Lucy found? Lucy was found by Donald Johanson and Tom Gray on November 24 in 1974 at the site of Hadar in Ethiopia. They had taken a Land Rover out of day to map in another locality. After a long, hot morning of mapping and surveying for fossils, they decide to head back to the vehicle. Like this picture shows us how is it the skull of Lucy.
Well, the remain of the bones that Lucy have available was several hundred pieces of fossil bone representing 40% of the skeleton of a female of the hominin species Australopithecus afarensis. Is catalogued as AL 288/1. The common name is Lucy. The species is a Australopithecus afarensis. The age is 3 million years, and the place where she was discovered is in the Afar Depression, Ethiopia. Now we're going to talk about the anatomy of Lucy. First, we're going to start with the skull. Well, the brain volume of Lucy was estimated to have been from 3065 to 470 cc, specimen Al from 8022 to 1, about 3074 to 3092 cc, Al 3033 to 45, about 40,086 to 40,092 cc. This will make for an average of about 445 cc. Now we pass through the size of the Lucy skeletal. Lucy is one of the most complete Pliocene hominin skeletons with over 40% preserved, but she was one of the smaller specimens of her species. Nevertheless, she has been the subject of several body mass estimated since he discovered ranking from 30 to 42 kilograms for absolute lower and upper bounds. Most studies report ranges within 25 to 37 kilograms. Then we pass to the torso. The torso thick 1 to 1 preserve an overall yaw bone which supports the thumb, more similar to those of sheep and gorillas than the bar-shaped hyoid of humans and orangutans. This would suggest the presence of langular air sacs characterized on human African apes. Then we have the upper limbs. The upper limbs is the afferences skeleton where it has a mosaic anatomy with some aspects similar to the modern humans in other to non-humans great apes. The pelvis and the leg bones clearly indicate weight-bearing ability, equality to bipedal, and also the upper lips are reminiscent of orangutans, which would indicate arboreal locomotion. Then, finally, the lower lips. The Australopithecus pelvis is platypelod and maintains a relative without distance between the hip sockets and a more oval shape. Despite being much smaller, Lucy's pelvic inlet is 132 millimeters wide, about the same breadth as that of a modern human woman.
His species, Australopithecus afarensis, is shown to have walked upright, but also had upper limbs adapted for climbing. They spent part of their time in trees to feed or protect themselves. A tree could have been safer than the ground for Lucy when there were predators around. It fed on fruits rich on sugar, seeds, roots, tubers, and bark. Lucy's species use stored tools to dismember and cut the meat, use this object as a knife. However, an even bigger problem with the idea that Afarensis is our direct ancestor is that our lineage is quite complicated. There were many species of early hominids, at least 20 have been found, that live side by side and probably intermingled. What we don't know is which one gave rise to Homo sapiens and which, from an evolutionary point of view, came to a standstill.